All right, everyone, now it's on to Israeli politics. Of course, when the last election, Netanyahu didn't get his majority. In fact, I think he came in a little bit behind the Gantz's party there. They want like a liberal coalition. And I guess the thing is, it's a little bit of it is bread and theater because I guess in principle they don't care about forming a ruling coalition with Likud, but they do care if that involves Netanyahu having any significant position, and so I guess they're trying to get Netanyahu thrown to the side. We'll see if they're successful in doing so. It looks like in the Israeli election, though, Israelis weren't entirely taken in by the whole idea of continuing perpetual warfare and expansionism. I think that's good because it's like you can guard your nation state without, repeatedly antagonizing your neighbors. And it's funny because you say this. It's like if you talk about the issue of Israeli politics at all, from anything closely resembling a reasonable point of view, you will inevitably piss off one of two extremely hardcore groups of people, regardless, by the way, of your own political persuasions, left or right, because there are subgroups on both sides that support both of these sides. You'll either piss off people who are like, Israel only democracy in Middle East, surrounded by enemies, greatest ally of US. You'll either piss off that group of people, or you'll piss off people who are like oppressed Palestinians, just want their own land, want to be left alone, harmless Hamas sort of folk. Really, it takes two to tango, and what we've got in the area is a situation where multiple groups of people that are heavily armed refuse to live in peace. And part of it is pure politics. You look at it this way. Netanyahu, right before this election, what does he tell the Israeli people? And he knew that this would antagonize anyone who's Palestinian or Arab voters within Israel. Oh, if I win, we will annex the entire rest of the West Bank. Haha, we will take control of these settlements here and make them Jewish. Well, that's an interesting pandering line. So you're going to invade land that's not yours and kick people out and settle other people that are more loyal to you in there if you win this election. Very interesting how that works. Very interesting indeed. And I guess the other party there wines and dines people that are more like they're in favor of Palestinian separatism, I guess. Although I believe they've got a more broad coalition. I guess one of the big complaints about Netanyahu is that he's calling for national unity right after basically swearing off the concept of national unity. Yeah, I can see how that'd be a little bit of a problem. Netanyahu's been problematic, though, the entire time. Didn't he start complaining about Iran and saying they were going to have a nuke soon back in, like, the mid-90s? And it still hasn't happened. Like, you keep bombing facilities and talking about, like, that shelf of CDs that you found, I guess, in Tehran somewhere. It's like, are you really trying to tell me that Iran is going to develop like fully modern nuclear systems, but they haven't found a better data storage method than a bunch of CDs in a lightly guarded sort of unmarked shed somewhere in outer Tehran? That's what I'm supposed to believe. This makes sense if you're a Netanyahu voter, I suppose. I don't know. If I were Israeli, I don't even know what I would support. At this point, I think I would support migrating to another country. I guess a while ago, a bunch of Jews decided to move to Germany because I can't remember exactly what the story was. It was something regarding some chocolate pudding or some shit. They were like, oh, it's like 10 whatever currency in Israel. It's like less than half of that in Germany. And Germany, of course, is a high-priced country for the most part. Like by maybe the standards here in small-town America, Germany is quite expensive. I've gone to the Netherlands. Things there are a little bit more or a little bit less. Like raw produce, a lot cheaper actually, like berries and fruits and shit. You've got it made if you're Dutch, if you're trying to buy like raspberries to make a cobbler. But as far as cheese, meat, and stuff like that, it's like, Jesus Christ. It was insane. And the packaging, man, you complain about us using plastic for everything. Christ. Nobody ever uses anything but bottled water, I guess, over there. Not that I'm going to be a hypocrite. Most urban Americans do at this point, too. But I guess, but Israel is so massively expensive, people go to Western Europe to avoid the high prices. That's a new concept. Oh, yeah, I went to urban, upscale Tokyo in order to avoid the high prices here in Tel Aviv. In order to avoid the high prices in central Jerusalem, I chose to take a vacation to Manhattan. It's like, I guess that's sort of the way that it rolls there. I can understand, though, because, you have to have massive taxes anytime that you're propping up this, constant military footing. It's like nonstop fighting, 24/7, 365 at some point. you'd think somebody would come along and say, maybe we should try something different before we're left behind by the rest of the world that's not constantly bombing itself. Maybe that would be a little bit better. But maybe that's some Yoko Ono bullshit, some hippie trippy bullshit. That's about all. Peace out.